Let's talk about Fusion, our topic this week. And with the release of Silk Song, a lot of people are hyping up indie games and the amount of hype, how good that genre is, or not genre. I don't want to say genre, but the type of games that come out of the indie space and how incredible they are, and how they can come out and be these Game of the Year contenders. And we're in a very strong position with the indie market. I think we're always getting something cool and weird every week. It feels like. And I kind of want to know, Fusion, like top 5 indie games. I put on a list of the indie games I personally like. I kind of sprung this on you last second, so I don't know if you have a list or something available to you. I can give you some time. But do you have like just on the rough mind, like what in your top 5? Like, what's the first one you think of, like your favorite indie games?
Do you want all five right now or just one?
Just one, and then we could go back and forth.
Hades.
Hades, hell yeah, that's number one for you.
Yeah, I would say it's my number one in the game. Like I adore Hades. I think in a few months here, a year from now, I think Hades 2 would easily surpass this. But like Hades for me is a top 10 video game for me all time. I love Hades. I love the gameplay loop in Hades. I love the music, the characters, the voice acting. Like Hades just has it all. It almost feels like it's cheating as an indie game, but it is purely an
Mhm.
indie game. Supergiant, 30 people, like they don't have a lot of money. Like they're just so good at what they do that it feels like
Yeah.
they're in that weird vein of like this doesn't even feel indie, but they're totally an indie team, and like you can never take it away from them. But Hades is just fantastic.
Yeah, no, I mean Hades is also in my top 5. I think that game is phenomenal. Has just this incredible gameplay loop that's like, give me one more run, give me one more run. It popularized roguelikes in a big way to where like it feels like every week we got this crazy new roguelike that's doing something cool. And I really attribute a lot of that to Hades. And like roguelikes have existed before Hades, obviously. Like there was Rogue Legacy, which is a very solid game, but Hades, I think, is the one that kind of figured it out. It's like, no, actually, you can make a roguelike and tell a compelling narrative, which granted I'm not the one to tell you about the narrative, but a lot of people really care about that narrative, those characters. The character design is phenomenal. Supergiant's always been good at that. The art style is gorgeous. I wish the 3D model for the characters looked a little better. That's like my one sticking thing with Hades. It's like, oh, the 3D models look a little like basic, but again, it's an indie game. It's hard to be that upset about it. Yeah, Hades is phenomenal. Um, yeah, so Hades is in my top 5, so I'll do a different one. I want to shout out Firewatch. I
Mm.
recently played this game, and I don't know if it's a top 5 indie game for me. I have just this list of games, so just bear with me. But I recently played through it, and it tells a very compelling narrative. I am not the one who plays these type of narrative walking games, but recently I started getting more into them, and Firewatch is one that I think is up there for me, like as an all-timer indie game, because it's very simplistic in the way that it tells its story. It has just very strong, like it has a very strong cast of characters, aka two characters, but the two characters play off each other so well. L- they're so human in a way that I feel like a lot of video game writing kind of struggles with making the characters feel human. It's like these two genuinely just feel like strangers turned into best friends, and there's this message that I don't want to spoil, but like by the end you kind of realize like the things you run away from life will always come back to get you. And it's like there's so much more to that ending that I feel like a lot of people hate the ending. I think the ending is very smart, kind of genius in a way that's like, I really wish Campo Santo didn't kind of go get screwed over by like that whole there was like this weird Valve merger, and their next game kind of got screwed over because of that. Because I think this team is very talented and they're very good at making gorgeous, really well told narratives.
This is one where I personally have not played, but I've watched like multiple times back in the day. Like this was a time where in like YouTube, I would
Of
come
course,
home
yeah.
from school and I would watch like let's plays of whatever video games I didn't own at the time, like
Hmm.
in middle school or high school days. And like I still remember just like Firewatch has like a very cult following where like a lot of people's favorite games of all time is Firewatch. And it's like
Yeah.
I have no reason to like hate on anyone for it. Like you said, it has a very like fun story, fun like thing going for it, and the art style is gorgeous. So like,
Hmm.
shout out Firewatch. And for someone like you, who you said at the beginning, it's like you don't play these type of games, and you still really vibed with it. Is like shows a lot on how good Firewatch really is.
100%. Yeah. What about you, Fusion? What's the one you want to shout out now?
Which one do I want to go? Well, I'm trying to say one for you that I think you're gonna say. 'Cause I don't want to take your thunder. I'm gonna
You can
say
go ahead.
Hollow
I have
Knight
a
though.
bunch of games.
Okay, I'll say Hollow Knight. I mean,
Okay,
Hollow
cool.
Knight is. These are my top two. Like my
Yeah,
top
I
two
respect it. I
and
mean,
these
Hollow Knight.
right
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So it's like, um, Hollow Knight's just so good, and it's like I didn't even I did my first like playthrough that I never finished like in 2018. It was like a year after the game came out. I never finished
Wow.
it, and then I finally finished it like what 2022. So it's only been like 3 years for me. But I remember when it finally
2023, I think.
clicked. Yeah, maybe it was 20. It was either way. It was like early on in the year, so maybe 2023.
Mhm.
But like it was that thing where it's like I tried Hollow Knight like multiple times. Like it genuinely that 2023 playthrough where I finally clicked and did put like 40 hours into it. It's like that was like my fifth attempt, and it's like my fifth attempt. It finally clicked. I was like, this game is super special. It's like it did
Yeah.
everything. It did everything I wanted from a game to the fact that like Silksong quickly, not even just a meme, became like my most anticipated game for years. Like I was like, I want Silksong so bad because of this little indie game from Team Cherry. It's like from the art style to the music, which I think is one of my favorite OSTs of all time, to just like
Oh yeah.
the platforming, which I adore, which the combat, which is simple but it's so fun, not perfect but fun. It's like Hollow Knight just genuinely has it all.
Yeah, it's funny because I played Hollow Knight back in 2021, and I remember beating it and everything, and like I didn't really do all the side stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is good, but it's one of the best Metroidvanias. Let's calm down, everybody. I've been replaying it in anticipation for Silksong. It's like I just want to like kind of refresh myself, and I am so glad I did because now I'm like, yeah, this is one of the best Metroidvanias of all time. It's just so articulately designed from beginning to end. It feels like you said, it's like the combat is simplistic, but it's a blast because of the way that they utilize enemies and boss patterns in a very creative fashions where it's like, hey, this guy has a shield, but he's not going to attack you until you hit his shield, and then you have to jump out of the way or you dodge or you get in a way where it's like you get into this loop and this combat rhythm that is very difficult to learn, but once you learn it, you get it, and it's like dude, Mantis Lords is one of the first few bosses where when I first played the game in 2021, they kicked my fucking ass. But years later, after I've played through a lot more games and I've gotten a lot better at them, I beat them on my second try, and it's like what happened was I got patient and I was learning to just wait for the patterns, get ready for what I need to watch out for. And what I found is like, no, this is why the combat works because it rewards patience, it rewards reading enemy patterns in a way that is so reminiscent of FromSoft games. And people always get mad when you say like, don't call Hollow Knight a Souls-like, but it has so many aspects where it is that like non-linear storytelling. It has that very like quiet soundtrack undertone until you get to a boss where it starts getting loud, and it has the whole run back from the bonfire, aka the bench, to the boss. It has so many of those elements and inspirations that I'm like, yeah, no, this is clearly, even if you don't want to call it Souls, like I get that, this is clearly inspired by what FromSoft was doing at this time. And I think they absolutely excel in a way that I think other Souls likes don't. It's like, no, the ambience is what makes Souls like so special. It's what makes Dark Souls still so much fun to replay. Is I love the ambience, I love the world. And I think Hollow Knight's up there where it's like, damn, they figured this out in a big way. That they figured this out in 2017 that these motherfuckers who made Lords of the Fallen couldn't figure out in 2023. I just love dunking on that game. I'm sorry. But it's just phenomenal game. I'm so glad I'm replaying it. I'm gonna try to do everything I can. Maybe go for the platinum. We'll see. But phenomenal video game.
It's funny you say because one of the Steam tags for this game is Souls-like. I'll never get why people are so like. There's a large part of the community that's like, don't call it Souls-like. It is very Souls-like, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like
people get mad when you say Souls-like for anything. It's like, guys, I'm sorry.
It's like
Dark Souls was influential.
I'm just saying, and there are definitely plenty of games where totally aren't Souls-like. They're just a hard action game, and people call them Souls-like, and that's annoying. But no, Hollow Knight is very much. Yes, it's not totally Souls, and it's like Metroidvania first, but it's like Metroidvania 2D platformer first, but it's like there's very much things there where it's like they obviously took inspiration from Dark Souls, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? That makes it so special. That makes the game as special as it is. If they didn't have those features, it wouldn't be as good of a game. So it's like I'll never understand why there's a large part of the community. I literally just saw a tweet from Gene Park like a few days ago, earlier this week, where he literally just put Souls in one of his tweets about Hollow Knight, which he also just recently played, and he finally admits it's a masterpiece, blah, 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 all this other stuff. He put a good article and a review out yesterday about it. Article. But He literally put like just the word Souls in one of his tweets about Hollow Knight. Every other tweet was just like, it's not a Souls like, bro, not a Souls like, it isn't a Souls game. And he's like, dude, all I did was put the word Souls in the tweet.
Yeah.
And it's like, so there
It's
is a large
frustrating.
part of the community that is definitely like, and I get it, they probably are tired of hearing it, but like, at the end of the day, there is some inspiration there. I'm not saying Team Cherry was like, yes, we're totally making a Souls game, but they obviously took some inspiration from a very influential video game.
Yeah, and one more shout out. This art style, my God, Hollow Knight is one of the most gorgeous, beautiful games I've ever played.
Dude, it's so good. It's like that thing where it's like you can genuinely just sit at any moment with the music playing and just stare at like art. You're just like, this looks awesome.
Another game that has one of my favorite art styles of all time is Cuphead. I fucking love this game so much. It does this 1930s rubber hose style of animation that is just non-existent nowadays because it's required hand drawn. And I recently just watched a video about how it's like, hey, they basically had to hand draw every single frame, and then they went into this one woman who inked every frame, and then they had to actually get them in the game itself in this insane process that led to the game getting delayed multiple times. It was kind of it was the original Silk Song in a way, where it just kept getting shown and kept getting delayed. But when it finally came out, everyone was like, this is phenomenal, because it's not just a very incredibly looking game. It's not just style over substance. No, the substance is good too. It's an amazing run and gun platformer, or a run and gun shooter with like, it's mostly a boss rush, but then you have your run and gun levels, but you're mostly there for the boss fights, and the boss fights are amazing. They're so well detailed, so gorgeous, and then the actual mechanics of the fights are very difficult. It's a very punishing game, but it never feels unfair because you can dodge everything. You can get a perfect score without really thinking about it too hard. It's just all about patience and understanding these patterns. It's so reminiscent of like the NES era of hardcore difficult games, but those games cheated. This game doesn't cheat. It's just really fucking hard, but it rewards you for being skillful and being willing to play by its rules with some of the most gorgeous animation, where I wanted to beat the boss fights not for my own personal gain, but I just wanted to see what the next one looked like. And the DLC, Delicious Last Course, is also phenomenal, has some amazing looking boss fights there too. Cuphead is a fucking masterpiece. It's one of my all-time favorite games, and I think it is a perfect example. It is the perfect example of like what indie games can do, because no AAA company would fund this. No AAA company would tell Naughty Dog to make something like this. It's like, no, Studio MDHR is a team of like, it was like I think brothers that said, hey, we're gonna mortgage our house. Fuck it, we're gonna make sure this game comes out. It's passion, it's love, and you could see that in every individual frame of this game.
Yeah, Cuphead is one of my indie sins where just like I've tried like probably 2 or 3 times. I just can't ever get into it. And it's like I really want to, because
it's the next Hollow Knight.
Maybe because everything you just said sounds awesome, and I would agree from the outside looking in, like the art style of the bosses, it all looks genuine fun. I guess maybe my thing is like I've always felt like, Greg, you said it wasn't, but like from the few tries I've had and from just watching it, it does sometimes feel like there is BS difficulty. Where I'm like, dude, this just looks like difficult boss just to be difficult. Like everything happening on the screen, all this
There's
stuff.
only like 2 bosses I'd say are outright like unfair.
Yeah, and it's like those aren't my favorite type of games, and it's one of those things where it's like I know Cuphead has a really good like co-op experience, and it's like
it's a good co-op. It's unironically easier in single player.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's a thing where it's like maybe I'd have more fun if like, oh, I played with my brother, we couch co-op it or whatever. Like maybe it is one of those type of games where it's like, but yeah, Cuphead's just one of those for me, those indie sins where it's like I haven't fully given it its try it probably deserves.
No, I respect that. It's not for everyone, but again, it's like that's what's cool about video games. Is like some video games just aren't for everyone, and those are some of the best games of all time to me. What's your next game, Fusion?
Let me look. Okay, I'm just gonna get it out because I think this is your number one. Maybe it's not your number one. I'm gonna say Inside.
Oh,
Inside. Man. It's so damn good.
It's so good.
It's so good. And I was late to the Inside train. This was also a 2023 thing for me. 2023 was like my biggest year, like in recent memory. I beat like 50 games that year. I did hard work on my backlog, so like a lot of these games came from that year. But like Inside, I played Limbo and Inside like a month apart, or maybe a few weeks apart. And I just remember like Inside is the perfect game where you just sit there for one night. One night you just commit to like 3 to 4 hours of playing just this somehow so emotional like story narrative and these puzzles and everything. Words. It's just like no words. The environmental storytelling is just so perfect. It's like I just like, if you have not played Inside and you're listening to this, please go play Inside. It's just like, it genuinely would take you one night. You just sit there, put headphones in, and just enjoy the experience. It's like as close as you'll get to like when people are like, this game's like a movie or something like this is to that extent, except the puzzles are good. Yeah, I was gonna say the puzzles are so fun. Like you might have a few moments there where like it might be a little frustrating for a few minutes where you're like, I actually don't know what to do, but I promise the game does such a good job at like, if you just look for a few extra seconds, you're gonna figure it out. And there's this one point in this game later on that I'm not gonna spoil, but you know what I'm talking about. But it's so iconic and it is so good that it's just like, I cannot believe they put this in that game there. Where the point, like, there's YouTube essays over this one entire level. It's just like, it is so good. Inside is so good.
There's like, Inside to me is one of those few games I would actually just outright call magical, where I'm like, I don't know why I feel so strongly about this game. It's the impeccable sound design. It's that I genuinely think people don't understand how important sound design is in a game. And then you get to that level in Inside where it's like that giant booming, like boom sound. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit, this is making me feel like emotions that not even horror games can feel. And it's not even saying a word. There's no dialogue. There's no aspect of like storytelling that's immediate, but it's the way that it builds its world. It shows you everything that's going on instead of telling. It's, I think you nailed it all on the head. Everything that makes Inside so special. It's like there are aspects of that game I still think about to this day, and I played it years ago, and it's like I don't understand how a team like Playdead isn't considered one of the GOATs, despite only making 2 games and working on that 3rd game for a long time that we still are waiting. But like, I don't understand how like every time there's like a Playdead spin-off, it's like, oh, this guy was the producer on Inside. This guy worked at Playdead. And it's like, it never hits the same way. That happened with Cocoon. It happened with Somerville. And it's like, you guys kind of get it, but you're not there all the way. And I just think it's like they had such an incredible core talent with Inside that led to it being one of the all-time greats. And, you know, I really like Limbo. Limbo's awesome, but it's kind of almost a proof of concept, whereas Inside is like their real passion and absolute magic. I love that game so much.
It's so good. I don't think I've ever met someone who's actually beat Inside and not like felt something from it. Like the 100%. Entire experience is just like, it's just, again, one of those games where you commit, just sit there for a few hours. If you have 4 hours for one night to just commit, because I think this game is that type of experience where you want to beat it in one night, just like sit there from point A to point B, like finish it, and just like, it's so good.
Yeah. Don't even use a bathroom break. Wear a diaper. Inside's probably my number one, honestly. I think you got me.
I knew you liked Inside a lot. I remember like when I beat it, you were like, dude, you're finally playing Inside. I'm like, yeah, like. So I figured that's why I didn't want to say it, but then I wasn't sure if you were going to get around to it.
So. We like the same games, really. It shows. Here's the thing: if Inside wasn't my number one, then this would actually be my number one, and that's Slay the Spire. This is one of the most addicting games I've ever played, and in my eyes, has probably the best gameplay loop of all time. Like right up there with like a Sekiro and a Metal Gear Solid 5, where I like playing it so much that I could pretty much just play it for an entire day and never get tired of it. It is a roguelike card builder type game, and I know that sounds boring as shit. It's very dorky, but what you get is just a very simplistic but very fun combat system. It's so well developed while also not being too overloaded with a bunch of terms and weird things that you just don't care about. It's like, no, here are your attacks, here are your spells, like your abilities, and what you're able to do. Have fun. And damn it, I had fun. Every time I play this game, there's just so many different ways that you can play it. You have these 4 different characters. You have different levels of builds that you can craft. And what's so fun is actually build crafting, where you start the game and you're like, okay, I'll work with what I got. And then by like the 10th, 11th run, you're like, okay, there's like 4 different builds I could go for. I'm going to work with the cards to try to get myself to that build. And each build is just as fun to run as the last, where sometimes you're getting builds where you're doing like 700 damage per hit. Well, maybe not 700 damage, but like 50 damage per hit on each turn. And then some builds you're running and it's like, oh, I'm slowly poisoning the enemy, but they can't hit me because I'm always blocking. Very simplistic, but very complex. And those are some of my favorite turn-based combat systems. I absolutely adore Slay the Spire. It is, to me, just like the perfect gameplay loop.
Yeah, I have not nearly as much hours as you in Slay the Spire, obviously, but like I've put a good amount of time in Slay the Spire. I've had a successful run. Like I like Slay the Spire, but like the loop for some reason never hit as hard as it has for like a lot of people. Like sounds like you, where it's like I know this loop can be very special. I don't know if it is the card mechanics that like kind of slightly turn me off. Where I'm not fully into how luck based some of these runs have to be, but like at the end of the day, I understand like how good Slay the Spire is, how well designed Slay the Spire is, and like I know you can't wait for the second one. Like I know you were stoked for Slay the Spire too, and like I know that announcement last year was like super special for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it requires like multiple runs to really get it. Because like I think I remember beating my first run. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. And then I just decided to keep playing. I'm like, wait, actually, this is something else entirely. Like this is so much more than I thought it was initially.
Yeah, I mean
And
that
I
makes
suck
sense.
at the game.
Like, you don't suck at it.
I don't know. It's just sometimes I get in a run and I'm like, why didn't I do that? I'm so dumb. What's your next game, Fusion?
Okay, I think I'm gonna go. So what I've said, Hollow Knight,
You said Hollow Knight, Inside, and
Hades,
Hades.
Inside. I'm down to 3, and it's like which one do I want to be the odd man out?
You can shout out.
I'll shout the other one at the end of it as honorable mention. I'm gonna go. I feel like I'm picking like the goat of the indie games, but like they are very good for a reason. I'm doing Celeste. And I know we're gonna disagree here. This is where we're gonna disagree on the list.
Fun. Do your thing.
But to me, I haven't played all the 2D platformers in the world, and as someone who's now played 4 recent Mario 2D platformers, I still think Celeste is the best 2D platformer of all time that I've played. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying of what I've played, it is. But the thing that I don't like, Celeste gameplay, awesome 2D platformer, cool. The thing I always think about Celeste for is the emotional storytelling, the narrative is telling. On the surface, sure, it might not seem a lot, but like if you understand the character of Madeline and what she's going through and all these other characters and what they portray and the emotions they portray and anxiety and all this other stuff, there is so much at the core of this game that just feels like a love letter to humanity to me, that it's like they do such a good job at telling the story of the human emotions, and getting to the top of the mountain is the entire point of like overcoming so many of your emotions as a human being and going through it and learning to grow and learning to love yourself and all this other stuff. Celeste, that's why I like Celeste. Yeah, the gameplay is fun, and sometimes I load it up just to try levels because I think the precise platforming is fantastic and nearly perfect. But like the story and all of that is what, like the art design, the art style of Celeste is fantastic. It's like those things are what makes me love Celeste as much as I love Celeste.
Could have done me a favor and made that the odd man out. I like Celeste. I think it's a good game. I do think a lot of the praise for it is slightly overblown. Not even slightly. I think it is overblown. I'm trying to be nice. I do get why people like the game. I wasn't really into the story at all. I thought it was very fine. I think that the gameplay is solid, but my issue with Celeste really comes down to I think it utilizes frustration based gameplay where it is like, oh, it's okay to die multiple times, just keep dying, it's fine. And that type of gameplay is very just uninteresting where I get to a screen and I'm like, okay, I die like 1,000 times and I eventually figure it out, but it's okay because I tried my best. And it's like, no, this is just kind of boring. Like, it's not fun to just die 1,000 times. And I know I'm saying that as a Souls-like guy. Hear me. You gotta actually hear me out with this one. It's not fun to just die 1,000 times, and then by the 1,001 time, I'm like, I didn't really grow any better. I just did it better. I slightly outperformed my last few runs through that screen, and then I don't feel like my skill increased. I just feel like it's like, okay, I got through that screen now, and it's like on to the next one. It never felt like engaging in that way. It's a solid game. I think it's very solid, but I just don't view it as like this all-timer great, especially compared to other 2D platformers where I think as a space, there are substantially better ones, you know, looking at all the Mario games, the Donkey Kong Country games, and even in the indie space, I vastly prefer games like Shovel Knight over it. I say all this, I do think it's a good game. I respect people liking it. And to end on a positive note, the one thing I will never say anything bad about Celeste is the OST. The OST is fucking incredible. It's one of the all-time best chiptune OSTs.
That is a good point. I didn't even bring up the music, but that music is, like you said, incredible. It is fantastic.
Talk about my next one. I gotta shout out another roguelike, Dead Cells. I fucking love this game. I said that about each game. I fucking love this game. Can you?
Well, I mean, there are top fives.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
We did them all. Like most of these games would
Exactly.
be in my top 25 games of all time. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, Dead Cells. I mean, to me, it's like it's another one where it's like I vastly go higher on games that have an incredible loop. That's like I just like playing it over and over again. And I think Dead Cells is a perfect example of that. I just think like the platforming is very solid. The combat is a blast. It is very gorgeous. It's one of the most beautiful games ever made. And it's just fun to like find new weapons, try to create a build that will hopefully get you to the end. And is a very difficult game, but it's a game that very much rewards you for sticking with it, trying to get better, trying to understand what the game is asking for you. I think it's a blast. It's a game that I can't really speak deeply on. It's just like, yeah, it's really, really fun to play. And especially the Return to Castlevania DLC was phenomenal as a love letter to the Castlevania franchise, one of my favorite franchises. So shout outs to Dead Cells. I'm really excited for whatever that team makes next. I think their next game is a furry game, which I just have to deal with, but hopefully it's good.
this is my turn to be negative about one of yours. So,
Okay.
I like Dead Cells. I like Dead Cells. I mean, maybe even
You were
love.
negative on Cuphead, by the way, so don't
No,
even.
I never played really Cuphead. That was my thing. To me, Dead Cells, again, I like it. I like Dead Cells. I don't think Dead Cells ever reaches. I think it's hard for me to compare because they're both roguelikes, but like it has never reached the I want to keep doing a run like Hades did for me. Where like again, different games, but like Hades, I can literally do run after run after run after run. I think my problem with Dead Cells is I don't think the boss designs are very good. I think when you get to the bosses of each area, I'm never wowed by any of the boss designs, any of the boss patterns, any of the bosses in general. I think the combat getting to the boss is fun, like fighting all the grunts and doing all that stuff. And sometimes those levels are genuinely harder than the boss, but it's like I would get to those bosses, which the base game only has like 4. Every boss is just like, okay, you're kind of just in my way for the next area. Like you're not doing much for me. So like for me it was that thing of like in Hades, for example, I was always excited to fight that. I was always excited to fight the first boss, the second boss in my runs because it's like I loved those boss fights were so fun, especially that third boss fight, which I don't know if we can't really spoil Hades.
Spoil it. It's Hades.
But it's the duo boss fight when you're fighting 2 people at once.
Oh my god, that one drove me insane.
But it's so fun when you're like 30 runs deep and you're now learning the patterns and all that. I never got that with Dead Cells. It's like that was always the thing for me with Dead Cells. Awesome art style. I think the music is also just there. Like I don't know much about the music, but it's like for me it never had much of a I want to loop and keep replaying your game like a Hades or even a Slay the Spire or even like a shout out Inscription type thing where it's like it never had that type of like I want to keep going back and doing your gameplay loop because I felt like the reward, which are usually the bosses in these type of games, were never rewarding enough.
That's all fair. I as a Dead Cells fan, I will admit, like, I don't really remember the boss fights outside of the Castlevania DLC all too well. I think all of what you're saying is fair. It's interesting because it's like, to me, it's always been like Hades or Dead Cells. Like, I'm very like stuck between those two of which one I prefer. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just result in, they're both good. Who cares? It's like, they're both awesome games. I like both of them equally the same. But yeah, no, I get all of what you're saying. I think I just like the 2D space more than the kind of top-down space, and that's why Dead Cells kind of works for me more. But I totally like they're both amazing games. There's nothing that's I could say bad about either one too much.
Respect.
What's your next one? Your last one, actually.
Yeah, my last one. I'm gonna go one that actually came out 9 months ago. Citizen Sleeper 2. I mean, this was this time last year, I would have said Citizen Sleeper. I genuinely I don't think I say it enough on these podcasts or people know enough that Citizen Sleeper as now a unit. Those 2 games are one of my favorite franchises of all time. Like I'm fully aware this game will not be for everyone. It's probably not for about 90% of the population. The first game peaked at about 900 concurrent players on Steam. The second one peaked at 1,700. It wasn't a lot more. It's God. These games aren't played by a lot of people, which is so sad because to me, Citizen Sleeper 2 is one of the best written video games, point blank period, I've ever played. And not even just video games.
You're about to say Red.
I know. Point blank period, it's one of the best written fiction ever. Comparing it to movies, books. like anything, like I genuinely believe that the writing in Citizen Sleeper 2 is that strong, and just the world building, the lore, and all of it. It's so good. And again, the gameplay is very much like you're rolling a dice, you're hitting skill checks, and you're just like making decisions. There's not a lot there. There's no like actual gameplay stuff there, but it's just like the companions you make along the way, the choices to do this or this. This person's life's in your hands, or this person. Like it's just like I love Citizen Sleeper 2. I love the music. I love the world. I love the vibes. I just love everything about it. It's just like to me, it is the game where it's just like if you don't want to sit there and have to like it's like that game to me where it's like if you want to just read a really good book one night, or if you just want to watch a movie one night, it's like that was Citizen Sleeper 2 for me, but over a week. I put 18 hours into it, and it's like every night I would in my night with playing these missions and learning about this world and talking to these characters and doing my choices, and it's just like it felt so good, and it's just so like again I keep going back to the writing, but at the end of the day, this is a very much just the writing is the vocal point of this game. It's like there's so many. I have so many quotes and so many different things I wrote in my notes or in my journal and all this from this game because that writing is that good.
That's incredible. I feel like that's one of those games where sadly doesn't get the respect it clearly deserves from all your praise, and I know Colin also really loves those games too. In that, I think visual novels just kind of have a hard time breaking out, especially if they don't have anime girls on them. So you don't even get those fans into it. It's like this is a very hardcore based game, but as you said, it's like no, it's worth it. Please just try it out, check it out. I do want to check it out one of these days. I know this isn't my wheelhouse, but I do like Ace Attorney a lot, and that's a visual novel, so I feel like I'd really dig it, especially if you say like it is some of the best storytelling in any medium. But like that's very high praise.
It's awesome. I would love for like especially after like Firewatch and you kind of branching out now. I think you would really enjoy it. I would say like maybe start with Citizen Sleeper 1, like just start with that.
Yeah,
see, obviously vibe there, like see that. Like I know there's a few people in the Discord, Bop, Moon, like there's a few people who have went into Citizen Sleeper 1 and they've enjoyed it, but then there's a few people that like I think Moon tried Citizen Sleeper 2 and he like fell asleep within 30 minutes. So like again, it is very much like you're either into it or you're out of it. But like I think if you do get into it, it's going to be a very special experience.
Don't let them treat your game like that, Fusion. You gotta shout them out.
It don't matter to me, really.
Yeah, really. My last one. I just want to do real quick my shout outs. Journey recently played. Beautiful game. One of the most beautiful games of all time. Like it's just good to look at that game. It's genuinely something special, especially when you meet your little guys that you never say a word to. It's like, God, so good. I also want to shout out Hotline Miami. Really fun top-down shooter, very arcadey. Not too much substance. The story is fucking stupid and makes no sense, but it's really fun to just do some runs of that game. And I vastly prefer the first one over the second. Vampire Survivors, crack cocaine. Don't play it. It's actually bad for you. Power Wash Simulator. Just one of the best podcast games ever made. It's so nice to just clean up these really dirty ass places while listening to a podcast or watching a video, watching some TV in the background. Just a great vibes based game, but nothing like substantial like to it really. Excited for the sequel later this year apparently. Balatro, another crack cocaine game, just a ton of fun, really cool gameplay loop there. And Stanley Parable, which is an incredibly funny game, one of the funniest games I've ever played, and says a lot about player choice and freedom in a very interesting package. And the Ultra Deluxe version adds a lot of cool stuff to it with amazing bits and gags. It's one of those games that like works because it's a video game, which I'll always love. But my last indie game, probably not my number one indie game, but one of my favorites is Undertale. Obvious pick is obvious, but this is one of the coolest games I've ever played. Did all three routes. I really, really dig the characters. The characters are hilarious. They're fun. There's a lot of like 2015 Tumblr-esque humor that I think doesn't really age well in 2025. Not for like anything bad, just that it's unfunny. But outside of that, I think that for the most part, the writing is very strong. It has a lot to say about the way we play video games, how we just kill everything we see without even thinking about them. There's more themes and messaging past that I don't even want to get into because it's been dissected to death. It's a very strong narrative, very strong characters. Gameplay is very solid. Sans is one of my favorite boss fights in any game. Phenomenal boss fight. And without question, the best part about Undertale, anyone will agree with you on this, it's the soundtrack. The soundtrack is up there for like just all-time greats. Every single song is a banger. Every single song of that soundtrack is either peak background music or peak battle music. It's phenomenal. Toby Fox is an extremely talented creator. I love that guy. I think he is so cool. He's so funny. He's doing so many great projects. He's done soundtracks for the Pokemon games. He's worked with Nintendo on various projects. I think that guy is an absolute genius, and I'm so happy that Undertale popped off the way it did. Even if it invited a lot of annoying people, hey, it's worth it because the game is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I did not. I agree with everything you said, and I just played Undertale this year in January.
Oh, nice.
So like, I was very late to the game, but like, I like Undertale a lot. I think I did hit some of those moments where you said at the top where it's like some of that Tumblr ass comedy writing in like
2015,
2025 is like, yeah, some of that probably is why I wouldn't say like, yeah, this is one of my favorite indies of all time. This is a 10 out of 10. Like, but like, still the writing and a lot of the characters and the music. Jesus. Like you said, it's just so damn good that like when I think of Undertale, I think of that OST and I think of those characters. It's like I do really like Undertale. I think Undertale is special. I think it has that. I think it hit in the exact moment in time where it has that cult following now. And like you said, sometimes some of those people are very annoying. Actually.
Oh my god, they're so annoying, dude. There was like, especially Deltarune fandom has gone to a point where it's like, oh my god, you guys need to shut up.
It's like, what? I'm pretty sure at some point wasn't it so bad that like Toby Fox was like, he said something about it. I don't know. I remember like there was some point where just like something happened a few years ago where he was like, dude, this is too much.
I don't remember all that. I do remember the most recent part of the fan base being very annoying, which was do you remember that Wplace thing where like it was like pixel art all across the world?
Yes.
You there?
My mic, yeah, I said yeah.
Okay,
I don't know if my mic
my bad. Yeah, I think I just missed it. But yeah, there was like a memorial for I think it was a horse, I forget. But like there was just a memorial, and it's like, hey, we're all doing this memorial, and one of the Deltarune characters was just splattered right over it, and it's like, God, you guys are not helping your case. This comes off as very annoying. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a community, so it's like easy to ignore. It's like I try to separate that from the actual game.
Yeah, they're just they're very obsessed. Can I do 3 honorable mentions real quick?
Yeah. No, I mean, I shot at like 7. So
yeah, no, I really only have 3 off the top of my head. Death's Door.
Oh, dude, I
right
there.
I know, right there, looking into my top. I'm like, I love Death's Door. I think like Souls-like. It is obviously like they say it's a Souls-like. It's very much Souls-like.
It's very Souls-like, yeah.
Like you play as this crow that's trying to bring people to death that just refuse to die. They're just like, no, I'm not going to die, bro.
It says a lot about like the afterlife and like the acceptance of death. It's a very special game.
But the art style and the music again, oh my God, starting to realize indies just do music better than anybody. Like they just put all their budget into the OST. They find these indie creators, they find these underground artists, but like Death's Door soundtrack to me is just so good, and that art style and everything, like the discovery in Death's Door, the combat, again, one of those basic things, kind of like Hollow Knight, pretty basic combat system, but it just feels so good with the boss designs that it's just like it fits, it works. The bosses aren't super like elaborate and over leveled, so it's just like a very patient game of doing the thing, like doing the combat. So like Death's Door, awesome.
Yeah,
I would say Sea of Stars, which is very for some reason. Like, it seems like the later we've gotten to Sea of Stars, like since it's been out, which is about to be 2 years now, it's like it seems like less people like it now for some reason. I don't know. I really like Sea of Stars at the time. I still like it today. Probably one of the best pixel arts in general ever. Like Sea of Stars looks insane. The soundtrack sounds insane. The combat of like, I haven't played is it Mario RPG? Is that the one?
Yeah, Super Mario RPG.
Yeah, where it's like the combat's very much like that, where you can time your hits, you have parries, all that stuff, and this little turn-based fun stuff. Like the combat is awesome. It does maybe overstay its welcome by a few hours. It is a pretty long game for the style of game it is. It's like 27 hours or something around there. So like,
oh yeah, that's chunky.
I was just saying maybe it should have been 5 hours or so less, but like, I really like that game. And then lastly, another Supergiant joint, which I could put every Supergiant game on this list if I wanted to. But I'll pick my second favorite, which is Transistor, which probably isn't the popular pick. But like, I can't even explain the combat system because it's very unique. But like, to me, it's that thing of this almost feels like
a volleyball one.
No, that's Pyre.
Okay, my bad.
But this it's very much like if you look at Transistor, you can see how they got to Hades. Like Transistor looks like a stepping stone to
I
Hades,
see that.
but that does not give Transistor enough credit. Like Transistor it's actually my favorite Supergiant OST, even
Oh
above
wow.
Hades. Like I adore that OST. Like it has a fantastic OST, fantastically voiced. Like it's just you play as this girl named Red, and your sword talks to you. Like you have this talking sword, and there's just this entire storyline. The world they created is just so like it's
The fuck?
futuristic, like end of the world type stuff, but it's just like it's so fantastic. The combat
Does
won't
she,
be for everyone.
does she
What'd
bang
you
the
say?
sword?
Um,
A lot of this art is very suggestive towards the sword.
there's a spoiler. I don't know if you want,
Oh,
but
okay,
I have to,
okay. No
yeah,
need.
just blah blah blah. Like, I'm not gonna get into it, but the sword's very important to Red as the
Of course,
character.
of course.
But yeah, it's just like when you look at the combat, it looks very weird, and it is weird. It's very weird, and it might not hit for everyone. And it's not like a great combat system, but it's one of the most unique combat systems I've ever played. And it's just like everything in the world just so perfectly where it's supposed to be. All the lore, everything. It's just so good. Like I recommend Transistor to everyone. It's not long. Like this is early Supergiant we're talking about, so it's like an 8-hour game maybe. Like these are not long games Supergiant used to make. But that's the one where it's like
Oh, is it like a tactics game? I'm seeing this now.
it's kind of it's almost it looks like you would be like grid-based tactics, kinda. It's very weird. I do not know how to explain it. Like
Yeah, really. I'm just like watching the video review
I
from
did not know how
IGN.
to explain. But for me, it's like a lot of people shout out Supergiant games, and it's usually like Hades. You hear a lot about Bastion, which is great,
Yeah,
and then a
very
lot
good
of
game. I
people's
played that
second
one.
favorite ever Hades is Pyre, which I think Pyre is awesome as well. But like for some reason, for me, it has always been Transistor after Hades. And I think it's just the soundtrack at the end of the day elevates it compared to all those other games.
Dude, shoutouts to fucking indie OSTs. Like doing this whole segment has really made me realize how good those OSTs are. And they just I think what it is just they're just filled with passion and they never feel like, oh, we just need an OST for this game, make something up. It's like no, they're it's like the OST seems to always be just as big of a part of the game as everything else.
They
And
always nail
before
the OST.
before you get to your last one, two quick shoutouts I just remembered: Tunic and Neon White, both phenomenal games.
Tunic.
Um,
Shout out Tunic, dude. I love Tunic.
you should play Neon White. That game's awesome. Really cool game.
I should play Neon White. You guys have been telling me to play that for a while.
It's just fucking cool. That's all it is. It's cool. But what's your last pick, Fusion? Your
I
number
would say
5.
Stray is indie, right? Oh, totally. It's an indie game.
Yeah, I'd count that as indie.
Okay. I would say I'm just gonna just to shout out Stray just to piss Bop off if he made it this
Yeah,
fast.
fuck Bob.
Actually, that's a lie. I should probably shout out Neva.
Never.
Neva, awesome game.
Shout
But
out to Neva, yeah.
Stray is just like I do like Neva better than Stray, so I don't know why I'm shouting out Stray. It's the point that
I
we've
think
said
you
it multiple
expected
times
me
on
to
this
say
podcast.
it.
It's just like Stray is so damn good at the world building and the world
Yes.
design. I want to live in Stray's universe. Like that
Yes.
is the
The
world I
vibes
want
are
to live
so
in.
good.
The gameplay, whatever. I'm playing as a cat, like it's fun, but like the puzzles, some of them
Mhm.
are actually frustrating. But dude, the world, like when I think of top 10 favorite worlds like ever in a video game, Stray probably makes my list, which is just insane to think
Yeah.
about. But it's like whatever crack cocaine they put in building that world around this cat is perfect.
Also made me realize how much I love cats because at the end I was kind of crying for the cat. I'm like, I love this cat so much. I don't even know his name.
Yeah, shout out Stray, dude. It's
That's
so
right.
good.
But yeah, your last game? Or is that it?
That was my last game.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, Fusion, all that longer than I expected, but like it kind of shows it's like, damn, indie games are really special. They are doing things that I think what the thing I always say about indie games is like they're able to do things that AAA games literally can't do. And it leads to games that are so much more passion filled, these projects that people will literally rely their entire life on this thing actually coming out. Where I think Team Cherry even talked about with Hollow Knight. It's like, yeah, we had to eat like leftover triangle sandwiches from work parties that our friends would bring over because we had no money. We were putting all of our bets onto Hollow Knight, and it's like it sucks that like hundreds of indie games go unnoticed and they don't make the money that they need to. But also, just as many get noticed, get the pickup, and are absolutely awesome. Shout outs to indie games. Those developers are really carrying the industry right now, in my opinion.
And if you, yeah, especially in today, and like, if you're someone listening this late and you haven't played any of these games, please play all of them. Like they're all fantastic.
They're all worth it.
I will say also, just quick, I know it's very controversial for a lot of people if Ori is an indie game.
I'd say
Ori
that
the Blind
counts.
Forest and
I'd
Ori
count
and Will
that
of the
as
Wisp.
indie.
If we're counting them as indie games, Will of the Wisp would be in my top 5. I think that game, next to Hollow Knight, is my second favorite Metroidvania ever. Like Will of the Wisp is absolutely a masterful. Like the art style and music. Talk about that game.
Yeah.
That game has it all. Like I know you haven't got to them yet, but like they are
Mm-hmm.
fantastic.
Yeah, and real quick shout out Shovel Knight, awesome game. Cannot wait for Mina the Hollower. It's all I think about.
You
And
dream about it.
yeah, I dream about it. And Enter the Gungeon, really solid roguelike. But yeah, that's what I mean. It's like there's so many indie games that I'm forgetting them now. It's so cool.
Many, and there's so many good ones. There's not even just so many indie games. There's so many genuinely great, fantastic. These are like games that like should be up there with the greatest games of all time, but a lot of people would never experience them because they're a small indie game, and
Oh, I don't
a
want
lot of people just play AAA Call of Duty. So,
AAA slop. Let's be real.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you're sitting here going like, man, gaming is dead, gaming is in a bad spot. First of all, like you got to play more games in general. But second of all, it's like check out indie games, man. They're doing what you want that you keep saying you want. Let's get into what we've been playing. You talked a bit about Hollow Knight Silksong at the top of the show, Fusion, but did you have any more things you want to shout out about the game?
I will just say, so far, everything and more. You know, I mean, like, I'm 10 hours in, which I know that is a lot with the games I just came out yesterday. So that just shows how
That's
much. Where it's
crazy.
like, I played 7 hours straight yesterday, or not maybe straight. I ate a few things in between there. I ate lunch, but like, and then I played 3 hours this morning. I wish I could have played more, but like, I've just been busy today, and like, I probably won't be able to play till tomorrow. Anyways, it's just a real like I said at the top, it is very difficult compared to what early stage Hollow Knight was. But like everything else, just the art design, the music, the way Hornet feels, the way the combat feels, I'm genuinely always thinking about this game right now when I'm not playing the game. This entire podcast, we're sitting there talking. I'm thinking of Silksong in the back of my head. We're talking about all these indies. I'm like, Silksong's going to be on this list.
I want to play Silksong.
Like, I fully believe, like, if we had this conversation a month from now, top 5 indies, Silksong would be there. Like that's how good these first 10 hours are for me. Like it's just like they're nailing it, dude. They are doing what Hollow Knight is, except a bigger, more vast. I have no idea how big this game is, but again, 10 hours in, I don't feel like I'm close to where I'm supposed to be honest. So like I'm a little scared. It's very, very large, but it's just doing it all. It is doing. They finally delivered after all these years of waiting. Everyone's speculating, and people were being like, "Oh, is it actually going to be as good as it is? Can they deliver?" I think with the Steam numbers we talked about, with how many people genuinely enjoying it, I think they've delivered and more. And I cannot wait to just keep playing this game and hopefully like a week from now be able to come back on the podcast, 2 weeks from now, and then like give a proper review of how much I love this game. Or it might completely fall off in 10 hours and it might be bad. So
this game sucks actually.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, the big controversy right now is the difficulty. How you find that?
It is very. I'm in a weird spot because like so far it hasn't been like one of the hardest games I ever played, obviously, but like it is a spot where there's a lot more double damage in this game than Hollow Knight ever had. Double damage and like Hollow Knight, for if someone that I know, like double damage just means like you get hit for 2 masks instead of 1. Like usually in early game Hollow Knight,
guys.
Yeah, or even in like probably the first 20 hours of Hollow Knight, you rarely run into double damage. You will run into double damage within the first 20 minutes of this game. And it's like, that's asking for a lot. You have to be really good, but it's not like anything where it's like, oh, this is frustrating and unfair. It's just like, when you were talking about earlier with Hollow Knight and the Mantis Lord and being patient, just be patient in these fights. You know what I mean? Take your time. It still has that very chess game in these fights where it's just like, read the boss pattern, figure out the boss pattern. I would say the most unfair stuff. Granted, I am stuck on the boss right now, but the more like, I would say it just feels harder to maneuver this world than it did in Hollow Knight. Like getting from point A to point B right now is like you're getting ganked by like 7 things. Everything in Hollow Knight had a very basic, like when you were a normal enemy, you had a very basic hit pattern, like a
you're just a little guy.
Moves. Yeah. In this, it feels like everything attacking you has like 7 different moves, and they're coming at you. They're coming at you at different angles, and they're putting a lot on the screen because in this game you have more agility, you have more moves to like soar in the sky and dash and do all of this other stuff. So like the game expects you to move around and be faster. but because you are fast and all this, it feels like they made the enemies faster and all this other stuff. So like that's a little frustrating, and a lot of people are getting frustrated with. In Hollow Knight, you have the downward, um,
I literally unlocked
pogo
it.
stick, like the downward pogo stick.
Yeah.
Where it's like that's you have your down hit is a pogo stick that goes straight down.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that.
And like you can abuse the hell out of that in Hollow Knight. You could beat a lot of bosses by just pogo sticking them. Like you truthfully can. And
there was one boss I was stuck on, and I needed the pogo stick, and I just destroyed him.
Yeah, and people love the pogo stick, especially hardcore Hollow Knight fans. They love that move. This game, it doesn't go straight down anymore. It's at a 45-degree diagonal.
Oh no!
And it takes a lot getting used to, especially like in platforming. So imagine platforming off of like jump things, but now you have the time instead of just going down 45-degree angle. That is difficult, and that can feel really not fun at times. There's ways around it and all this stuff I'm not going to get into, but like those are the biggest things I'm hearing complaints about right now. But for mostly everyone else I've talked to and what I'm actually seeing online, it's like people are genuinely obsessed with this game. And like,
oh yeah,
like I said at the top of the show, the fact that Tim Geddes and Greg Millers of the world, even Snowbike Mike was like, I played 90 minutes straight on my Steam Deck and loved it. Like, I don't think all these people will stick around for 30 hours that I expect this game to be, because it is really difficult and a lot of these players will hit a wall probably. But I do hope it hits the Elden. I hope it hits the Elden Ring type of thing, where it's like it's so good that you just power through the difficulty.
Of course, like, yeah. And I think people are going to do that for this because people love Hollow Knight. People were powering through the difficulty of that game. They want to be good and play through Silksong and do that because I think this is kind of what the Hollow Knight fan base wanted, is like more difficult challenges after all the updates of Hollow Knight that already added very difficult stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, I didn't even touch on the exploration, but the exploration is just so, like, it's so good. I'm picking up quests. Like, I have a quest log now.
Wow.
Like, I'm doing, like, there's so many different things where it's just like, yeah, I'm picking up, I meet an NPC, I'm getting a quest from them, and they do that thing where, like, FromSoft does, where it's like, if you don't talk to them 4 times, they don't give you the quest. Like,
hell yeah.
You have to sit there and, like, you have to actively engage with these characters around the world to get this stuff. Then you come back and they give you a sick-ass reward. And it's like, there's an actual notice board in this game, kind of like Witcher contracts. It's like these things are making the experience so much better, which I would have never even thought about that Hollow Knight needed. And it's like, sure, the game could have been just as great without this stuff, but it's like these little quality of life and just new elements and features makes me feel like I can enjoy this game for, like, I hope it's 30 plus more hours. Like, I genuinely don't want this to end.
Yeah. Shoutouts, dude. No, it's awesome what Team Cherry has done. And everything you're saying is like, hell yeah, that's all things that I kind of wanted Hollow Knight to do. My one thing about Hollow Knight is the map system. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't want to get too in depth with it, but like, just generally, like, I feel like it could have been better handled. Mainly my main thing is, like, I just wish the map would fill out as I go through the areas instead of having to go to a bench. That's like my one thing. Is there any changes to the map system, or is it kind of the exact same?
It's, as far as I know, the exact same. It's like you find a map person, buy the map. I would say the difference is in Hollow Knight, it took a while to, like, unlock some of the, like, compass and all that, where it's like you show up on the map and, like, your character, you can see it now. You unlock a lot of that stuff very early in this, or you can, like, if you buy it, you can unlock a lot of that stuff. It still does that thing where your map does not update until you're on a bench. Like, you have to get to a bench for whatever you just did to update. Which I know is frustrating for a lot of people, which sounds like you don't like. I really like that feature for some reason.
Yeah, I
mean, this time it is frustrating, but, like, I love the idea of, like, entering a new area, and then the first thing on my mind is, like, I gotta find the map guy. Like, I gotta go find the map dude. Like, I gotta find the map. And, like, obviously, I remember even in Hollow Knight being times where, like, I genuinely had to look up where the hell is the dude with the map, because I couldn't find him, like, in the area. Yes.
The royal chamber with, like, the underwater, like, pipe system, I could not find him there. I had
so it's like things like that can be frustrating. It's like, I'm doing all this just for a map, but, like, I think it adds an element of, I guess, difficulty that, like, fits the game and fits the world.
Yeah, 100%. This game sounds awesome, Fusion. I want to play it right now. I want to play more Hollow Knight, dude. It's like, this sounds so much fun. Really, shout outs to Team Cherry. It seems like they kind of nailed it. And there's like 500k people that seem to agree, and they're all playing the game at the same time, which is pretty psychotic. And it's not even including like the Nintendo, the PlayStation, the Game Pass numbers. Like, this is a massive, massive deal of a game. Probably the biggest game launch of the year. which is kind of crazy that an indie game is doing that. An indie game
I
made by like 3 dudes.
I cannot wait for you to experience this because obviously I'm not gonna say what the boss was, but yesterday it took me about 13 tries for this boss, but on my 13th try it was just that thing of like everything felt so in motion. I did it
Oh
perfectly
wow.
where it's just like it felt like I understand Souls like whatever I will say. It felt like when you fight those FromSoft game like in those FromSoft games or any Souls like game where it's like you've learned the pattern, it's your 13th time, just go in there and do the damn thing. And you can go
Yeah.
in there and you basically perfect it. You barely get hit this time, and it just feels like a chess match of you waiting, being patient, dodging. And then because this game, like I said, Hornet's way more elusive than the Knight in Hollow Knight, it just feels like in even more of a chess match and even more of just poetry in motion.
Can't wait. Really awesome. Shout out to Team Cherry yet again. The game I've been playing the last week, I finished it in about 3 days, is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the remake for MGS3, one of my favorite games of all time, one of my favorite, arguably my favorite franchise, right up there with Uncharted. I love Metal Gear to death. I'm so happy to see it back in a big way. Recently, I didn't put this on the doc, but Konami announced that it hit 1 million in about a day or so. A couple of days if you count the early access period, which is phenomenal. Really, really good sales numbers. It makes me hopeful that this game's going to sell well. As a remake, I am thoroughly satisfied and happy. I look at this as another way to play one of my favorite games of all time. It's not a replacement. I don't view remakes as replacements. I view them as another way to play an all-time great and get more people into a franchise I adore. And I think this game's going to get people into this franchise. I think Snake Eater is not my favorite Metal Gear game. It's like number 2. Sometimes number 3, depends on the day, really. But it's arguably the most digestible narrative. It has some of the most powerful emotional scenes. It has, in my opinion, the best ending in any video game, like hands down, not even a debate. Is a very, very powerful game for me. So remaking it is a very tall undertaking, and I think they did it mostly well. I'm gonna say this right off the bat. There have been a lot of controversy about the performance. And I'll say this as someone who has played on base PS5. Base PS5, I've not played the PC version. I think it runs fine. I think it's slightly overblown, at least for the PS5 version. I think there are definitely frame dips. I've noticed them at certain points, but they were not severe. They lasted they were pretty in and out kind of frame dips. There was one point when the game kind of froze for a second, and then it immediately came back to 60. It was like, that was weird. But nothing too bad to where it actively dissuaded or ruined my experience. So I think I probably just got lucky there, but it seems like right now, like they're putting out some updates. It seems to be running a lot better now. As for the gameplay changes, they've changed the game to play a lot more like Metal Gear Solid 5, which I mentioned earlier is one of my favorite gameplay loops of all time. And I think overall it's very good. It feels great. I think my problem is that they didn't update the maps or enemies to really take note of how much more powerful you are. So like the maps and the enemies are designed for the PS2 version of Metal Gear Solid 3, where you had substantially less options. Whereas now you can kind of destroy this game pretty easily. I played on hard mode for that reason because it is easier. But that doesn't really bother me too much because I just really like sneaking around. I love the camo system. I love stealthily taking people down with tranquilizer shots. It's just a blast. It's a really, really fun combat system, gameplay mechanics. Some of my favorite stealth gameplay I've played in a while. And as for the actual look of it, I think overall like the character models look amazing. I think that certain aspects of the game look great, but if you're gonna play this game, I highly, highly recommend giving it the legacy filter. It just adds this kind of tint to the game that the original Snake Eater had. It just makes the game look better, in my opinion. It does not look like because the normal game kind of just looks like, oh, it's an Unreal Engine 5 game, whereas like you put that legacy filter, it's like, no, this is Metal Gear. This is the directorial intent is to have this kind of lens to it, which adds a lot to it. I think there's a lot of discussion about like soul versus soulless. I always hate the word soul because it literally makes there's no definition to soul. I think this is a very great remake of this game. Another amazing way to play this game. I just wish that it was accounted for the differences in the difficulty. That's my one thing is like change up the gameplay or like change up the level and enemy design to better fit how much more powerful Snake is now. And I definitely want to see those performance issues kind of hampered down.
I was just saying, I was going to ask. I'm glad you touched on the difficulty and how like it seems like it is, like you said, extremely easy now, like compared to
Not
what it was.
extremely. Like I did, there are certain aspects. There's a part of this game that I'm like, oh my god, I forgot how bad this section is. But for the most part, it's like, yeah, it's a lot easier. I put on hard for that reason.
And I'll ask this because I'm obviously going to be hard for you to answer, and like, but I feel like this is just a question I want to ask for the remake of this style. Like, are you someone who's like, if you had to introduce someone to this game, would you rather them play the OG or would you give them the remake?
I mean, that's such a difficult question to ask because it's like it literally is preference at the end of the day. I'd probably recommend the remake if you're willing to go back to it. I always say like, hey, play both. Like play like the original PS2 game is still phenomenal, but I think there are aspects of the original PS2 game that are more frustrating to go back to that maybe like the remake makes, for example, camo. It used to be if you wanted to change your camo, you go into the survival viewer, you individually change the camo, and you go back out. Now you like hold up on the D-pad and it's like, hey, here's the best camo combination, which makes it easier. It makes it a lot faster, but it's also like such a nice quality of life thing of like, okay, I don't have to like finagle around in menus for this anymore. Um, if gun to my head, I'd probably recommend the remake. But again, I'd recommend like do the new controls. That's fine, but like please put the legacy filter on. It looks so much better like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm as someone who I wanted to play this on launch and then kind of Silksong ruined that for me.
Yeah, what the fuck, Team Cherry?
I don't know. I was gonna play it. Granted, I'm still $70 is a tough ask to be honest, in my opinion.
No,
it
that's
just does
the
not
thing.
look like a $70 game to me. But
Okay, well, you didn't have to say that. That was a little.
I didn't
No,
mean
but
that as in like a bad way. It's just
No, I
like,
get what you mean. It's a short game. There are side modes. They added the Snake versus Monkey mode, which was exclusive to the PS2 version. It was not in the HD collection. They also remade the Secret Theater cutscenes, which was kind of like these goofy cutscenes that were in the original game that was not in the HD version. They brought it back for this. It's a very faithful remake in a lot of ways. Almost to a fault, like I said, with the kind of level and combat design.
yeah. So it's like I'm still like I would love to get to this by the end of the year. When I talked about earlier, like Hell is Us and Chronos, like this is obviously above those two. Like when I'm talking about like what I'm interested in 2025 cleanup, like this is high near the top. Where it's like I want to experience this story. I did watch a little bit of gameplay, and I guess I've never seen Metal Gear, like the old Metal Gear games, like in gameplay. I guess because I did not expect it to look the way it did. Let's say that's a yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad or good thing, but like it looked really stiff. I don't know if that makes sense.
I mean, it's not stiff. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was like a GameSpot video. Maybe the dude was terrible who was playing.
Oh yeah, he probably.
Whatever I watched, just for some reason was not what I was picturing when I was thinking the remake. It was the first time I've seen the remake gameplay, and I was like, this doesn't look remade to me. Like I don't know. Either way, that doesn't really matter.
The main changes is that they added the first person camera view and made it where like you can move around and shoot while in first person and like in general. And they also added the crouch walk, which both of those were not in the original.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I'm like this is still definitely I want to experience the story because like you and millions of other people have said like this is one of the best stories in gaming. Like I've heard it nonstop. So I was like I would like to play it. Like and I'm happy for you as big of a Metal Gear fan as you are, even more than Uncharted. You hate your other child.
Oh, okay. Let's calm down. All right. They act like two legends cannot coexist.
True. Shout out Nathan Drake.
Shout out.
Yeah, I'm glad it sounds like it's hitting for a lot of Metal Gear Solid fans. And it's like you said, the million. I thought that was a good thing, and you sound like it's a good thing. I was watching Kind of Funny this morning, and everyone there was saying it was not good. I was like, I don't know why, but
I think it's these sales numbers. Like, I feel like people are like weirdly. With how big certain games have sales numbers, there's always this expectation of like, oh, 1 million is bad. When like that is 1 million copies at launch. That's $60 million in the bank immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I think this game is overpriced at $70. At the end of the day, it's a remake of a PS2 game. I would have better priced it at a 60 or a 50. But I mean, listen, when this game goes on sale, I think this is gonna be like a Devil May Cry 5, where it's just gonna have a long tail and it's gonna constantly sell.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with that. And like I heard that million, and I was like, that sounds good. Like I don't know why we're people, but then yeah, I've seen other people like Kind of Funny, and another outlet that they were like, 1 million doesn't seem good enough for this right now. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But that could be again the price. And like you said, once it goes on sale, it's probably going to sell even more. It's like, I guess it just depends all on, because like I saw Alan Wake 2 hit 1 million and I was celebrating. So it's like, I guess it's just at the end of the day what it is. Like 1 million is a lot. Like I understand not every game's going to be 5, 6, 7 million. Like this isn't how this works. So like we should be happy when a game hits 1 million copies.
It's weird, man. I feel like people have this expectation. I think people need to adjust themselves also. Like when it comes to Japanese developers, like 1 million is a lot. Like that is very good for a team like this. And I think they probably already made their budget back, or if not, like very close to making it back. I think by end of year, I could see this hitting about 3 to 5 million, which I think Konami will look at that and be like, hell yeah, let's greenlight another remake, which I expect next game in the Metal Gear series to be MGS1 remake. I'm very curious how they do that, because that's like going to be a full scale remake. Because MGS3, like you only needed to add a few things. MGS1 is like, I think you remove that top down camera, you make a third person. It's like, okay, you're going to have to completely change the level design now, which I'm very curious how they do that, because that's another absolute 10 out of 10 masterpiece game that you can't fuck with too much, especially because you don't have Kojima there.
Do you keep Virtuos as the developer team?
Virtuos, Virtuos, just learn how to use Unreal Engine 5. And Epic, let's get Unreal Engine 5 up to a better state. I was thinking about it, honestly, all my Unreal Engine 5 hate. And then I really started thinking about it. I was like, I think it's more fun to blame developers, actually. Because, like, how are you guys not optimizing these things? There's clearly an issue with the engine, in my opinion. Like, clearly a core issue with how it's optimized. But also, it's like, let's start optimizing these games. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I will say I'm very happy this is doing well, reviewed well, because as someone who hasn't played these games, I want more remakes of these games. So like I'm right there with you. I hopefully whatever one is next, whatever they want to do, just do it, and I'll be there. Just like I said, I'll be there for this. I haven't yet, but I'll be there. I promise.
You fucking liar!
Team Cherry ruined it.
Classic Team Cherry. You know what? Maybe that Polygon article is right, actually.